Well, this looks interesting. Yeah, buddy. Oops. Well, we knew whose fault that was. So if anybody's wondering, this is the same time a month ago where the sun was right up there. I don't even know if you can see my finger. But the sun was right there a month ago. It's not there now. Huh. Okay, so for washing Bonita, I use a sprayer with a soap attachment on it. And got to get behind the windshield. Got to get down inside the dash. Make sure you get in the separations between the seat and all the body panels. Get that under panel real well. Get the exhaust really well. Do a good job. You got to get her from the back because the wheel runs deep. Get her from the front. Make sure you get inside the oil cooler and the water cooler. Because bugs will get in there, dirt will get in there, and then the bike stops cooling. So you got to be very, very careful with that. And for the Harley, well, you just kind of wrench it off. And that's about it. Hey guys, so getting ready for Forgotten Angels, getting all the things ready for the bike, and one thing I do know I need to do is check out the tires on the bike. So let's check that out real quick. So looking at the tire, it doesn't really look that bad. I got a little tread on them, they still look pretty good. Until you look at a new tire, and you're like, yeah, maybe I should change those tires. So I got new tires to put on this. I got Shinkos because they look pretty cool and they're pretty relatively inexpensive. Back tires, definitely, let's see if you can tell, they're definitely looking a little flat. The new tires have an ass load more tread. So we're gonna go ahead and get some new tires on the bike. So we're getting ready to do the tires. I'm gonna do the front tire myself. But to get ready to do the front, a couple things you got to make sure. One, your check sheet with all of your different sizes for all of your stuff on it. Got an axle nut. All my T sockets. Got a 3/8, got a 1/2 inch drive, and then I have my torque wrench for 3/8 or 1/2 inch, and my torque wrench for 3/8. This probably seems like overkill to do it this way and have, 4 different sockets or 4 different ratchets. But this is my bike and I want to make sure it's well taken care of. So that's what I'm going to do. I also decided to do, very important, when you're doing your own tires, have a very good set of tire tools. So these are probably the best ones that I found. These are the Bead Pros from Motion Pro, and I use bull snot. Obviously don't want to tear your tires or mess up your rims. So I use a ton of bull snot when I do them, and hasn't let me down since. They come off so easy and they go back on so easy if you use the right tire lubricant. And that's, to me, the best one. So let's look at that again. Mountable bull snot. Let's get the reflection off of it. So yeah, so that's what I like to use. It works really well. If you don't like it, that's fine. You got something better, that's fine. Everybody makes their own brand. But this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get to doing this. And not a whole lot to it. I'm not going to go through the text of this. If you want to know the technical specs of this, there's good videos out there. I do it. I'm not a pro, but I know how to do my own. So I trust myself to do my own. I don't trust myself to tell someone else how to do it. So I'm just going to do my own. So just to give you a better perspective of what I'm actually looking at when I say the tire is worn, you can kind of see the dip. So these are compound combination touring and sport tires. So the middle tread on this, or the middle part of this rubber, is hard. The sides are a little soft. So what you're seeing here is, since I've been doing it for a lot of city riding, you'll see the side start wearing away while the middle is harder. It stays there. And then again, let me comparing it to this one, it's just about perfectly round. We'll take a better look at the back. Got the garage up where you can see the back a little better. So yeah, I can actually start seeing it's looking a little flat. Where this one is more round, that one's more flat. So, yep, so that's the decision. So this being the size of this tire, yeah, it's a 190. I don't know if that shows you. Yeah, a 190. So a 190 tire is actually pretty thick, and the rim itself, if you can see, it's pretty low. Don't have much of a mid on it, and that makes it, without a machine, it makes it really hard to get it off of the rim. So that's why I'm gonna let somebody else do the back one, and I'll just do the front one. Okay, back to me struggling with the front. Right. All right, so I went ahead. I've taken off broke loose the axle nut on this side, spun it off till it was loose, and then broke off the actual male thread on the other side. Taking off my brake calipers. They're in there loose. I don't recommend you actually try to pull them out until you pull the tire out, and they'll just kind of fall down. And so now we're ready to pull the middle bolt out. So they should be loose enough now that I can just use the axle tool. This BMW, what we're going to do is, once I get them a little loose, pull up just a bit, get my jacks under here. The bike doesn't completely fall to the ground. I'm not really worried about it keeping the wheel in the air, because I'll jack it back up when I'm done. Oh, also, almost forgot, we want to take our speed sensor off. Not want to damage the speed sensor.
Hi, Ryder.
Hi. This is my clone. Over here cloning and clowning. Hi, you're probably wondering why your car's not in the garage. Because they had to move it. Okay. Alright, next we gotta get our fender off. We'll add, if you're not a patient person, if you're going to do anything on the BMW, there's lots of fasteners, lots of things to take off. They're easy to put back on, but you do have to be patient enough to get everything off, put everything back on, change bits 3 or 4 times, 5 or 6 times, and then get everything back together. I have been tempted in the past to leave all the fairings off and just make it a naked bike, because it's just, well, there's a lot of shit, but it looks better with everything on, so I'll keep putting everything back on. Carefully. Alright, front wheel's off. If you notice, also I have my tap kit out here just in case things go sideways. Not that I think they would, but I think they probably could. Make those assessments. Something I have to do later is my shaft is a little dirty. It's not burnt up, it's not greasy, it's just, that's a lot of dirt. That's road dirt, grease, built up on there. So I'm going to clean that and re-grease it before I put it in. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is get the air out of this tire. And there's an app for that. Be very careful because you're laying it down on the speed pickup, the ring. So be careful. Be careful. And try to put everything where it won't roll away. Magnetic pouches are my fave. Magnetic bowls. So this is actually, you can do this one of two ways. You can use the flat end, deflate the tire, or you can just pull the core out. I guess to keep from damaging the core, I'll let all the air out first and then pull it out. I have another bag of cores, but if I can reuse the good one, why not? Keep it on the tool where I'll know this is the one I just took off. Alright, now I'm going to clean the rim before I bull snot it. That way I'm just not making mud. I should clean these rims more often. They're real pretty. Alright, so we'll get our bead breaker in there. Put it under the tire. Hope you can see it. And then that goes in like a little scissor. And you can pry her down. I have the bead broke. Let's get a good break in there again. We're going to put some bull snot in there. So as I go around, break the bead loose. Okay. Alright, we got her off the rim now. And be careful of your TPM sensor, if you have one. Don't mess up your TPM sensor. So I have the other side broke now, so all I should have to do now is just break this in one spot. It shouldn't have a whole lot of tension on it anymore. And there we go. It may be this easy. I know people don't usually have this much luck getting them off. It may be because they used a bunch of bull snot on it last time. Get back over to the safe side. Now, here's where people usually really kind of goof it up. So if you want to get the most slack on this side of the tire as you can, pull this side out. So as I push this side to the center, it does work this way. That way I'm not working against my TPM sensor. So if I push this in, it'll give you the most distance I can pull from that side. So we'll do the same thing again. And just about there. Plus I have a lot of bull snot on it. Okay. So we got that off. And again, same thing with this side. I can almost pull it right by it right here. Let's close. So pull it to the center of the tire. Work it around. Try not to destroy our brake disc or our speed sensor. Now we're gonna spray not our brake disc, not our rotor, we're gonna spray our tire. Make sure it's facing the right way. Speed sensors on that side. So this is the right side of my wheel. We want to make sure we're rotating the right way, which would be this way. Double check. Yep. Okay. So and we're on. Do the same thing for this side. Make sure we get plenty on our rim. A little more monkey spit. Put your knee right there. Put your knee right there. Okay. Small bites, that way you're not messing yourself up. Keep reapplying the tire junk.
My knee.
Okay, front tire's on. Now we're gonna try to bounce her around, make her go out to the rim. And we're gonna put some air in her. And now we're gonna put some air in it. Waiting for a pop. One pop. Two pop. Check our tires. Pop, two pop, red pop, blue pop. Okay, 42. We'll leave it there for now. We're gonna go ahead and clean up our axle rod, our axle bolt. I don't know what you want to call it. Let me clean this shit up. She's pretty dirty. Okay, so I got the tire back on the rim, got it aired up, got it where I think the red dot needs to be, but we need to check it for balance. So let's give her a light spin. And she's starting to come back. So I'm going to clean and mark the low spot where I think this low spot or the heavy spot is. Okay. And we're going to spin her up, go the other way with her. Okay, so strange enough, you can see this is where I marked it the first time. It's 180 out from the other side. And it'll do that when your heavy side is directly up high. It'll balance itself. But I think this is actually the heavy spot this time. So I'll put a smaller piece of tape there, but I think it's actually there. If you get the heavy side directly up top, it will balance itself. But I think the reason it did that before is because this is the heavy spot and it got directly high. So we're going to go the other way with it. Put them right across from each other and see which way it goes. Okay, now That's obviously the heavy side. So I'm gonna move it off of it just a little bit. Okay, I'm pretty convinced that's our heavy spot. But just to show you what I was talking about before, if I put the heavy spot directly up top, it'll stay there because the heavy spot is directly above the low spot and it's balancing out the heavy side. So we're going to go ahead and put a little weight on it. Looking on the rim, I can actually see that someone has put a weight there before. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. So turn it in quarters. I think we have a balanced rim. Let's ship it. Let's put her together. All right, so we got our tech sheet ready with all of our torques on it. All that. If you don't have one of those for your own bike, you probably should. I highly encourage it. Okay, so we're gonna need some grease. So I'm using STP, All-Purpose General Automotive. I'm sure BMW has their own line of stuff, but this works for me. It's always worked, and I'm gonna keep using it. We got our balancing shaft off of it. I got this balancer off of Amazon. I think it was about $100. Well worth it. It seems like it might be expensive or extravagant, but when you're talking about the job that it does for your motorcycle, you can't spend too much money. I'm also going to feel the inside, the bushing in there, and make sure there's no scoring, make sure the bearing swings freely, make sure nothing's messed up in it. I'm probably going to, next time I do this front tire, I'm probably going to change the bearings. Alright, let's roll it in, make sure we're not missing anything as we roll it in. Okay, we got our shaft ready. Make sure my inner threads are pretty clean. I'm going to wipe these threads out inside my axle nut. On a BMW, different than other bikes, your axle nut also acts as your spacer, and your axle bolt also acts as a spacer. So you need no shims, no bushings. This is it. This is what holds your tire in, and I like that. So let's get our bushing. We're halfway in. Now we're going to start tightening our axle nut on the other side. So it bites in good. Alright, once you have your axle bolt on the other side where it's all the way screwed up against the side of your fork, you want to tighten it. And these are a T45. So I'm going to tighten down the axle nuts. We're going to switch over to our very, very cool axle tool. This is an axle nut tool. Has 17 millimeter, 22, 24, and 19 millimeter. Ours is a 22. So we get the 22 in there. And tighten our bolt. Now that's on, we're going to tighten up this side. And our torque on these, 28 Newton meters. Hey Google, convert 50 Newton meters to foot pounds.
Here is information from Omni Calculator.
I guess Google ain't talking to me today.
36.8.
36.8. My other ratchet, I just had.
Underneath your leg.
Oh, hey, look, it's not that way. We're going to put our brake calipers back on. Remember when I said earlier, if you don't have patience for things, find it at least to do this job? This is one of those things that you need a whole lot of patience for. BMWs are awesome machine, precision engineering. It also means they're very tight clearances. You'll have enough room to do it. Barely. The torque spec on your brake calipers, 28 Newton meters. While I got this off, while the fender's off, I'm going to go ahead and look at my radiator level. Looks very good between the min and the max. Look at my gremlin bell that's still on there that the Papillion bought me. And obviously while I was taking the brakes off, was checking the pads and the calipers and the rotor. And everything looks good. There it is. Now all I gotta do is go test drive it. Alright, so I had the new tire put on, and just you can see better how worn it actually is. Yeah, just look at the pinnacle. Look at the peak on that tire. That ain't got one. That's got a new one. But that's my new one, and it's kind of pretty. It's some pretty colors and shit. She's pretty. So let's get her put on. Well, I decided to go ahead and do my final drive, and when I did, I noticed how thin the brakes actually were. So yeah, compared to the new ones, no brakes there, buds. So yeah, so I decided to go ahead and do the brakes too, so it's going to be a little longer. I did do the final drive oil though. That was a good thing. Okay, so we got everything done to the bike that we're actually going to do to it, so let's look her over. So we got new front tire, new rear tire, new gear oil, new back brake, and she's new air filter about 300 miles ago. So next weekend I'll do the final engine and transmission oil change, and that'll be it. So yeah, 8 days away from pulling out of the driveway, heading towards Tampa, going down to Forgotten Angels. If you haven't looked it up, it's www.forgottenangelsflorida.org. So as far as the channel, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And so a friend of mine, Whiskey Chaser, is doing a Patreon of the month. Figure I'll do one too. So why not? So G My Rides, you're my Patreon of the month, and I'm gonna give you. You're already getting one T-shirt. I'll give you two. and a bunch of stickers too. So why not? So I will give you those in 9 days when I actually make it to Tampa. All right, guys. See you around. That's all I got for now, and it's late at night, and I'm done. So see you next time. Bye-bye.
Like, comment,